Excited. Okay, hello everyone and welcome. I'm Jennifer Blackard,
And I'm Bianca Reina.
and this is the Hustle Mystic Morning Show. Today we are with Katie Sutton, and we are going to talk about healing the body and some of these 12D energies to kind of expand and go beyond. Katie is newer to the show, so we're going to start right from the beginning
That's
here,
right.
Katie. Can you take us down the path? Like, what brought you to this work? What really woke you up? I know that everyone has these cool awakening stories, so take us down.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you all for having me. I'm really excited to be here and joining you today. My story is a little bit winding. I started on the path when I was very young and was exposed by my mom to several different types of modalities,
Oh,
including
cool.
animal communication and herbal healing and sacred geometry. But I was very much one-minded of needing to go into working in technology. I always loved technology, probably bringing that in from my Atlantean lifetime and decided that I was going to be working in a technology company and wanted to be CEO of a tech company one day. So that's what I went towards and graduated from college with a degree in computer science and moved into the corporate space. And within about the first 6 months, got really, really sick. And over the years, I kind of knew that I had different gifts, but it was something that I put on the back burner. And when I got really unwell, I had chronic fatigue and Graves' disease, a thyroid condition, lots of different health issues that came up. And that's what really got me kind of centered on the path and getting back into things that I had done as a child, like yoga and meditation. My husband and I went on a trip. I ended up at a psychic institute to get a back healing, and that was kind of how my path opened up fully. Started studying with them for about 3 years and thought I was just doing it for me.
Hmm.
The universe tells you one thing and you keep going, no, I'm on my path,
Uh-huh.
going in the other direction. And after I graduated from that institute, started working a little bit with clients, but really still thought I've got, some time before I want to go into this full time. Got laid off in 2017, 2 weeks after hiring a business coach, and now I do this full time.
Wow.
So it was like the universe was ready to push me in that direction. As soon as I said yes to building my business, it was all in after that.
Nice.
And now my husband and I are sound healers. We've been doing that for about 11 years. I have my own healing modality that came in called 12th dimensional healing when I traveled to Mount Shasta in 2018.
Okay.
And I work one-on-one with clients, about 20 people a week. So a lot of people over the last 10 years with all kinds of different backgrounds from all over the world, working on everything from physical body health to emotional things that they might be moving through, childhood trauma, work in whatever realm spirit guides me with the people that show up. And I'm happy to be doing this work on this planet.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Sure. One of the things that we wanted to really dive into was the 12th dimensional experience that you had on the Mount Shasta. The two questions that I have is there significance in, I don't like the word significance, but is there significance in actually having gone to Mount Shasta and receiving that? And what can people take away from this experience that you have?
Sure. Yeah, part of my work with my partner now is taking people to sacred sites around the world because
Okay.
Mother Earth has come in and said, we need to be connected to her. And so I didn't know that at the time when I went. I was just going to help out with a friend's retreat and know that, like spirit kind of tells me to do things. I'm like, okay, yeah, look, this sounds like fun. And went on that trip and in that experience, after connecting with that place, something ignited inside of me. It is the root chakra, some say, of the earth, and it definitely moves you, at least it moves me in a new
Yeah.
direction every time I go there. We take people there about every other year on retreats, and it's an activation point. Mother Earth has these places, different sacred sites that are activation points, and you don't have to travel to them to activate that energy. You can absolutely connect through her energy body, through the ley lines of the earth to any of those places. But when you do get the opportunity to visit them in person and you go with intention, it can activate certain things for certain people. For me, there's also a galactic connection that happens there, and the inner earth beings and the Lemurians that kind of exist within that mountain are keepers of a lot of information and codes. And so it was just like right place, right time.
Oh, I
And
love it so much.
mhm.
So do you channel that and is it Lemurian energy, or do you want to take us into what the energy actually is?
Yeah, so when I connected in Mount Shasta, I was working in somebody's field and my friend's field, and they kept saying 12, 12, 12. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and get guided to do the healing. And what happened is I opened up her 12 chakra system. And we have infinite chakras, but most people are very familiar with the seven chakras that we work with in our body. We have transpersonal chakras that exist outside of the body that are very important to get activated, especially as we raise our frequency and we start to try to embody higher light. So basically, it's like going to an energetic chiropractor and stretching the chakra column. And so that's what came in that moment. And they said, we're the 12th dimensional collective. We're here to do some work with your healing space and to teach you how to do healings in a different way. And so that was the first collective that came in working with that 12 chakra system. It's since expanded. I channel lots of different collectives now.
Yeah.
The creator beings are a part of that 12th dimensional collective. In that 12th dimensional collective, there are different representatives from different frequencies and different groups. I also am very guided in this lifetime to work with the balancing of the masculine and feminine energy. And so I have the divine feminine and divine masculine collective that are a part of that bigger group of channel beings that I channel.
Wow.
So it really depends on what the person needs and what needs to come through. And the Lemurians came in my healing circle this month. So it just depends
Great.
on what energies are needed and what I'm guided to bring through. And I have kind of a energetic scale, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, that I have in my empathy that tells me who I'm connecting with and what
Hmm.
energy I'm bringing in.
Yeah, yeah. I started channeling these Arcturian dragons, and then these other Palladians came in later. I was like, okay, I get it. So now that I've got this connection with channeling, I can do others. It's kind of awesome. One of the things that I got in a channeling session is it's not necessarily dimension, but density.
Mhm.
It's like it's 12th dense, it's like the 12th density or something. Is that kind of the frequency that you get from this? Do you want to
Yeah,
talk a little bit about that, what that means, and and even how might can we apply some of this and have an activation so that we can kind of, sense the work through our body? I'd love to do that too.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think density and dimension are pretty interchangeable.
Hmm.
When I see holographically in time and space, it's not linear and it's not something that's
Hmm.
hierarchical. I think
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, I think sometimes when we say density or dimension, we go into, oh, the 12th dimension is higher or better than, the fifth dimension. It really is a shift in frequency, and
Hmm.
there's more possibility for higher vibrational attunement as you go up the chain. But
Hmm.
even with channeling, I always tell people, when you're trying to open to channel, step out of the idea that you're bringing beings in that know more than you do, right? It's
That's a
kind of,
good point.
yeah,
Yes.
it's coming into an understanding that we're all source. And within my 12th dimensional healing, what I'm really activating people into is this understanding of unity consciousness. It's that space where we're starting to move beyond polarity, moving closer to source, so that we have that more unified vision. And we can't hold that 12th dimensional frequency all the time. We're meant to have a physical experience, right? We're not existing without a body. But
Sure.
what's happening as we shift in consciousness as a collective here in our human experience is that we're having access to higher and higher frequencies, and we're able to shift things in our body to begin to hold those higher vibrations more effectively within the physical vessel. And, so from that perspective, it's really about actually going down into our bodies and working on being more embodied and more connected with the earth and doing the things that we need to do to feel safe in this physical vessel to be able to open that channel to bring in the higher dimensions. We don't want
Wow.
to just leave our body and be in those higher realms all the time. We really are meant to bring these higher frequencies in so that we can create the new earth vibration here and we can start to make changes and start to see some things that really need to shift on this planet begin to change.
Hmm. When I think that is what the purpose of channeling is, that they're like star seeds speaking to star seeds. And they're like, here, you need to be doing this on this planet. You're here to help with the ascension. You're here to do this. And that's kind of what my understanding of why they're really here to help us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Mama Earth started to come in and bring these codes in, I started a mystery school called New Earth Now,
Mm.
Oh, funny.
and she basically was like, you need to activate people into this connection and start to teach them that they can channel me too. Right. So
Yeah,
we think about
yeah.
going up into the cosmos, but we equally have all of these collectives that are connected within the earth and the flora and the fauna here that is also able to be channeled. And it's actually bringing that cosmic and that earth energy together in our beings that creates
Wow.
that open field.
Love that.
I remember being really excited about talking about this with you because you really bring it back to the earth. I think a lot of times we find ourselves in the cosmos and feeling like that while that's great, I think sometimes that we get this predisposition that we are going somewhere outside of ourselves to get answers. And so we're like going beyond. And sometimes it's a little more of really coming back into ourselves, but also from Mother Earth, right? So getting those messages from Mama Earth and really integrating them as well. So I really love that you're standing for this. What is one of the biggest misconceptions or things that you can share with people to help us really bring back that message back into it, receiving the messages from Earth?
Yeah, I think to expand on what I was saying about hierarchy,
There, yeah.
we have an opportunity to bring our humanness to the experience and to be okay being in the embodiment of all the things that being human means.
Yeah.
So if we can
Mhm.
be in a deeper state of connection with ourselves and do the work that we need to do to understand all of the aspects of self that are asking for healing, and then go into the space of, okay, how can I connect to something quote unquote bigger than me that just gives me a different perspective? Because that's what
Oh, yes.
it's not so much like you're going outside and seeking an answer to a question. You're trying to get clarity in a different perspective of viewing something that's going on in your life. And that's what I try to do with people. You know, we call ourselves healers, but we're really guides. We're really there to activate things within people, hold a space, and reflect energy back to them that they might be missing so that they can shift into a different perspective on the things that are going on in their life. And we have such a distinct difficulty in our humanness as we're moving through these systems that are changing and breaking down all around us and the stuff that's happening. And so when we can bring in an outside perspective and look at it from a different angle, we can kind of move out of that victim villain story, that blame and polarity, and get into, okay, how do we just move forward and find new solutions? So I think, that idea that going outside of ourselves and they know more, it's just a different perspective. I think that's the number one thing for me to impart to people about channeling.
Mhm. Well, can we go into some of the channeling?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So I go in and out of being a trans channel. So sometimes
Hmm.
my eyes are closed or open. It depends on what collective is coming forward and how much they want
Hmm.
me to be in or out of my body as we
Hmm.
information. When I'm channeling for a bigger group, I tend to bring in both so that there might be a human experience within the higher frequencies that are coming in. But actually, Mama Earth would like to come in first. So what I
Yay.
would love to do is to take people through a little activation if they're open to
Hmm.
that. So, if it's safe for you to do so, you can close your eyes. If not, just softening into your body and your breath. And just beginning to tune into the energies that are all around you in this moment. And begin by calling yourself back home into your body. So much of what we're doing in our seeking process is stepping outside of our experience. And so just begin to call yourself back home. And you can do that very simply by saying, insert your name and call myself back home, and do that 2 or 3 times. And what that's really saying is, I am coming back into
Riley and
this vessel, allowing you to come back into this vessel, coming back into this now moment.
Ooh.
And then from there, I invite you to drop a taproot down into the earth and really begin to connect with the depth that Mother Earth brings. When she comes forward, she wants us to understand that she is not suffering. She is not something that needs to be fixed. A lot of times when we are working with the earth, we're thinking about saving her. She doesn't want to be looked like that. She wants to be looked at as someone who is an equal who is co-creating with us. And so as you drop into that connection with the earth, go deep into her core and begin to feel the pulse and the heartbeat that she is bringing in. She wants you to understand that the times that we are in are incredibly volatile, not because we as a collective have done anything wrong, but because we are on this trajectory or this path of ascension that she is also navigating at the same time. Oftentimes we just came out of a lion's gate, and one of the things that came in my healing circle was that we are used to in those opening portals calling in a lot of cosmic energy, but what's actually happening right now is Mama Earth is sending pulses of light. And one of the reasons why that's happening, if you follow the Schumann resonance or you look at those charts of the pulses that are coming from Mother Earth, one of the reasons why it's so intense right now, what she's bringing in, is she's actually activating and bringing online energies that have been dormant and waiting for us so that we can receive them, so that we can begin to shift into a next frequency band or octave here on this planet. And so as you connect to her, I invite you to tap into the pulse of energy that is meant for you. There's a unique energy signature that you carry as a soul, but Mama Earth also knows how to connect in with you. She is your mother in this sense. And one thing she also wants you to realize is that your story with your biological mom often affects the connection that you have with her. And
Oh.
so, what she would like you to do is separate for just a moment
Mm.
from this story that you have with your biological mom and be willing to connect to Mother Earth in her truth in this divine, unconditional,
Mm.
loving presence. And as you bring that in, draw that light into the body and let it flow up through the center channel. Let it flow all the way up through that center channel as it comes along the spinal column. This light of divine love is the purest expression of energy that she can send into your core, that you can receive from her core, from her heartbeat. And as that light flows up, allow it to help you ground into your physical body. A lot of times we are pulled up and out of this connection with the earth, and we are walking around pretty untethered and pretty separated from our physical experience. It's one of the reasons why we have such distinct dis-ease processes on this planet, because we are disconnected from the body of earth and we are disconnected from our physical vessels. And so, as you draw in that light of love, understand that it's divinely intelligence. It is an aspect of source energy that she is embodying in this divine feminine frequency. And as you bring it up into the body, let it go wherever it's needed in your body. Maybe there's something that you are struggling with in your physical vessel. Maybe there's an emotional expression of something that is stuck in your being. Allow this unconditional love and this support, this light of Mother Earth to come in like a divine nectar and flow up through all layers and levels of your being and out into the layers and levels of your auric field. And just feel how good it is to be connected to this beautiful divine mother energy, this safety, this support. So much of the changes that we are going through have an impact on our feelings of safety, our feelings of vitality, our feelings of connection. And so as you bring that in, let it ground you and begin to connect into your heart and then flow up to your crown. And as you begin to open your crown, we're going to start to invite you to activate the higher chakras above the body. So we have a causal chakra just off the back of the head. We have the 11th and 12th chakra just above the crown. These upper energy centers have different purposes, different frequencies, but just understand for the moment that we're just opening up that calm and begin to feel your light body getting stretched, almost as if you are going to a chiropractor, you're going through a spinal decompression. We're just opening up that center channel. And understand that the more willing you are to drop into that deep rooted connection with the earth, the higher you can connect into the cosmos. And then from that place of divine connection, begin to feel that 12th chakra open up. Again, it's a couple of feet above your head. This is your connection to the stellar gateway. It's your connection, kind of your own personal source light in your being.
Mm.
And start to draw down that light from above. And we have several collectives working with us today. I won't name them all, but we have quite a few galactic supporters, and we have this frequency of unity consciousness that's coming in directly from source. And as you call that in, just bring in that divine light. We have this aspect in this source energy of divine masculine codes that are also coming in. This energy of right action, right responsibility, this divinely masculine energy that holds a protective frequency for the earth and for the divine feminine that we carry in our bodies. And so as this light comes in, just let it start to flow down and create another sense of safety and protection for you. And again, this energy is something that we're beginning to channel higher and higher frequencies in. And so you might find that the body has a vibratory response, or that there's yawning, or that there's something that's happening. This is just the unconscious energy in your body
Mhm.
beginning to release as this new light starts to come in. And then, if you are open to it, begin to allow these two energies, these cosmic and earth energies, to begin to dance and start to become one in your channel. This is that frequency of sacred union that we are working on as a planetary body here, as a human collective. Because as we start to bring our masculine and feminine together in our own individual being, this earth and cosmic energy coming together in our own individual being, we start to hold this frequency of unity consciousness. We start to do that, we release polarity and we begin to allow our perspective to shift, one where we are stepping out of those victim and villain stories and into more co-creation, not only with earth and source, but with the divine human collective that exists around you in the form of your family, your friends, your coworkers, your community. And really connecting to these higher realms is not more important than connecting to the human energies around us. We are really working hard as a collective of star seeds here in this beautiful earth experiment that we find ourselves in being able to create harmony with one another. And when we step into greater harmony with one another and within ourselves, then we have things like open contact beginning to happen. We have extraterrestrial support that comes online, but we can't step into that fully until we begin to look at our collective human family as just that, as family. And so feel this divine love in your heart and see if you can open your heart to the understanding that you are not alone even in this human experience, even if you've been through a period of isolation or separation, understand that you are not alone. You are always supported by this earth and source energy, but you are always divinely connected to those around you as well. And as you feel that heart expand, just allow this love to flow in from all directions. This frequency of love is an aspect of a version of source consciousness, a version of earth consciousness. It is the undercurrent of our entire realm of existence here within this plane. And as that flows, let it move through all layers and levels of your being and send that love deeply down into your body, all the way into your cellular memory. Send that into your body, this higher light, this unity consciousness, this divine love. And then perhaps because it's always good to be of service in a way after we've taken care of ourselves, maybe there's a pulse of light of that love that you'd like to send out all around you. Maybe there is someone somewhere that you know might need some support, or maybe there's somebody that you don't even know that's a stranger on the other side of the planet that might need this divine love. And feel how connected we are here. When we begin to connect with the earth and we begin to connect with the cosmos, we begin to realize that our experience is not separate from anyone else's. That is really the frequency of unity consciousness. It isn't all of us being the same. It is all of us honoring the authentic expression of each individual here. And as we step into honoring our own authentic individual expression, we begin to turn on gifts and abilities and things that we want to create in this lifetime. And we begin then to co-create in this divine perfection, in this authentic expression with those around us. And so really feel that understanding that you're not separate. And take some deep breaths and allow any fear or safety energy that gets triggered in this understanding that we are all one, that we're all working together. It's a natural feeling sometimes when you're a sensitive or empathic being to be afraid of that, to worry about that. It's just you learning to be in your sensitivity and a superpower rather than being in this place of fear. And just let that understanding of it's safe to be connected to Source and Earth begin to take hold. And that will expand the safety in your body, your ability to be in your physical vessel and be connected to your humans around you. And just take some deep breaths. When you're ready, you can slowly come back and open your eyes.
Wow. What it's kind of interesting when people channel and some things are so true. It's just, I was writing down just a couple notes as you came up with it. And one of the things that came up was when I was studying some Joe Dispenza, it was like, you were saying we are all one. One of the things that he kind of made us focus on was kind of this idea of like, the energy, yes, you're here, but you're also here. You're also here. You're just not physical, right? Which would then mean that I'm also here, which means that I then would penetrate to here. And then a part of me is still a part of her.
Mhm.
And the way you were saying it, it just really made that energy come back in me into this resonant frequency of that being that oneness.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel that with some of the work that I do from some of this oneness perspective, it's very much that is the way that we heal. I feel that you can take this deeper, and I'm not really sure what question to ask here, but I'd like to dive into some physical healing and how people can support in doing that through the frequency.
I'd also like to ask if anyone has any questions, if you're open to answer any questions on the chat or live stream as well. So go ahead and raise your hand.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought up the body because that has been the theme for me for my whole life and doing this work. It was the thing that got me into this work. And,
Right.
especially this year, it's like we're going higher in frequency, but we're also tunneling deeper into our physical vessels. And I think, as sensitives and empaths, we tend to have a lot of physical expression of that sensitivity that comes at us whenever we get overwhelmed. And the body is an aspect of ourself, right? So there's twofold here that we don't want to become so over identified with what's happening in the body that we interrupt the healing that's possible, but we also don't want to be so separate from the body that we're not in conscious connection with it so that it can heal.
Mm-hmm.
There's a course that I teach. I think it's in the promotional thing that y'all are going to send out that's called the four etheric bodies. It's looking at the four aspects of self where we've got the physical, the mental, the emotional, and then the energetic. And they're again, we're eliminating hierarchy. A lot of times when I'm working with somebody and they've
Mhm.
got a lot of body stuff going on, it's taken over their kind of whole expression and they're in this battle with that physical body. And we don't want to go to battle with something that is an aspect of self. We want to bring it to the table and have kind of our kumbaya moment where all of the parts come together. And, it is all of them bleed into the other, right? So if we've got something that we're dealing with in our emotional expression, or maybe we're not dealing with, eventually the body will say, okay, I'll take one for the team and I will take that into my vessel and I will work to get your attention in a hip pain or a gastrointestinal issue or whatever's coming up. And so when I work with people,
That's so weird that you said that. Because
gastrointestinal stuff coming up.
it wouldn't, well, that's funny too, but she has a little bit of that, and I have
I
a little bit
do.
of the hip pain.
Oh, okay, there
And
you
so it's
go.
just
Those are like,
I'm
that
sure
you're
they
like,
said that
yeah,
for a
and
reason that
two
didn't happen.
items, and they both have that one item.
That's
That's how spirit
funny.
works. I never say anything by happenstance, right?
Right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
true.
And so the body is giving us signals, and we want to caretake that in the way where we're seeing it as information.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then also being willing to look at all the other aspects of it. So when I work with people, I kind of see them as these multidimensional holographic beings. So there's stuff
Mhm.
from their inner child landscape that's causing problems in their body, right? Or bringing things forward in their body. See, even I have to work on my language. And they might have something that's going on in their partnership that's causing some emotional distress for them, or they're not happy in their job, right? It's looking at all of those aspects and then also pulling in the lovely past life and soul things that we carry and the ancestral things that we carry. And that's one of the special things about 12th dimensional healing that I appreciate is that it is multidimensional in that way. And I try when I work with people or I'm in teachings to look at it from that very holistic perspective. And
Mhm.
And if we can do that and we can see that when we're working on something in the body, there's going to be multiple layers to it, right? We're going to go through different frequency bands or dimensions or densities to heal something. And we're constantly peeling back the layers of the onion. And so if
Mm.
you've got something, like for example, my thyroid has been like talking to me my whole life, my throat chakra, I work with people on throat chakra stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And there's so many layers to it. And I have to be willing to say, this is guiding me on a path as an individual. And if I can continue to be with it and continue to see what it's teaching me, it will keep me moving forward in my expression, in my soul lessons in this lifetime. And, of course, I'm here to channel. So, of course, my throat chakra is important, right?
Right.
I'm here to share information. And when I shut it down, I feel the effects of it. When I pull back or don't create or I don't share my voice or I get afraid to share my voice, then my body starts talking to me and saying, hey, you're not using your voice. You're not singing. You're not
Mhm.
dancing. You're not expressing. And we're meant to be here in such joy in these bodies, but we look at them as these things that we have to deal with, right? And they're really here as sacred vessels to help us be in the human experience and have all these amazing things that we get to do in these bodies. The
Yeah.
things that I channel, they're like, you have a body. You don't even understand how amazing it is that you have a body and you have a physical expression to be able to do things like eat chocolate cake and have sex.
I
Yeah.
know. We talked
I
about that and
Yeah. Mhm.
real talk. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But sometimes we forget, right?
Well, we forget when we're in pain, a physical
It's
pain.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I go there too, right? I have my moments when something's going on with my body. I'm like, oh my gosh, this has taken over my whole experience. But there's always a point of surrender in that, right? And that's what
Mm-hmm.
a battle. It's surrendering into what is the body bringing forward. And again, it is a part of a whole. And where else in my experience can I be in alignment or in unity while this pain is happening or while this other expression is happening in my body? And I've had so many things over the years go on with my body, right? Of teaching me that if I'm not taking care of me first, if I'm not putting me first in the driver's seat, then my body is going to get my attention very quickly. It's going to say, "Well, we've got to stop. We've got some attention that's needed here." And I think, probably everybody listening to this has a level of empathy and sensitivity. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be called to this work.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
easy to forget that we need to take care of ourselves first.
Yeah.
Would it be appropriate to have, I want people to have the opportunity to experience your work. Would it be appropriate to have you maybe channel into me or to Janet and
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
okay.
talk about your stomach.
Oh,
Oh
bueno.
boy.
Ay, Dios mío. Okay. Yeah, so I have I know that I do this when I get nervous. So I hold it all on my belly. I have the chronic constipation, so I was taking a real heavy prescription for that, and I no longer am doing that. I also quit drinking like 5 years ago, so that helped. But I still have, like, yesterday I had a birthday party and I don't, and my belly was hurting that whole day. So like, I was like, oh man, like couldn't really like fully relax because it still had like this, puffy, bloated feeling, the whole day.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you to pause for just a second and close your eyes and
Okay.
put your hand on your body, on your belly
Okay.
specifically. And before I even talk about the things that I see going on with it, because I just want to start by having you validate your body.
Okay.
And the energy of validation, I've been talking about that a
Mm.
lot this month, has been coming up because when we validate, we surrender into what is and we bring in appreciation and gratitude for what the body is doing.
Yeah.
So envision giving validation energy a color, any color you want, and don't tell us. I want everybody to pick their own color. I don't want them to be influenced.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that's got anything going on in their body, you can do this while I'm working with you, and just start to bring that validation energy in and validate that the body is doing the best that it can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so for you, what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of inner child stuff attached into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And without going too deep in front of a whole
Oh,
group,
I don't care. We
We
go
go,
everywhere here.
we
Yeah.
have no privacy.
okay, good. I want you to understand that whatever you were holding in for your family of origin around you, whatever trauma, whatever things you were picking up on, you need to give your body permission that it's allowed to let go of those things that it doesn't need to serve by holding. Because you're kind of like the sea sponge, right? You're taking in
Yes.
all the things. And when there's constipation, it's definitely root chakra, but you've got in your solar plexus this belief that you serve through taking on.
Mm.
Right. And maybe that was a level of validation that you got as a child in the way that love came in. And certainly we're not meant to be transmuters of other people's pain.
Yeah.
Right. We're here in our empathic sensitivity to activate and show people new frequencies and new ways of doing things and emoting is okay. And there's also like some specific things in your timeline that I'd love to bring healing to, where you've had experiences where you've been the center of attention and it has terrified you immensely. And so I love that this is the work that you're doing in the world because you're like me, you're like pushing through that hard stuff, right? To say, I'm going to still show up even though this scares the Jesus out of me sometimes, right?
Yeah. And I
And
said that yesterday too. I was like, sometimes I don't like all the attention. Mind you, I do have a podcast.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's coming from some other lifetimes too. So you've got these points on your timeline from your childhood where that was really intense for you, and I'm just bringing love to those versions of your little girl. It's interesting that you mentioned a birthday party because that was actually what you were showing me is like being the center of attention at a party or like and the pressure that comes with making sure everybody's really happy and okay,
Yes.
right? And so maybe it's carried over into adulthood. So we're just love to those points in
Oh,
the timeline. I see them lighting up. There's also some stuff like with expectations and partnership and family in there. We're just bringing that in, some love for that. And then you have this interesting lifetime. You might laugh when I share this with you.
okay.
You were like the town crier. Do you know what you remember from like medieval history, right? Like where they didn't have newspapers, but they had this person that would go out and in that lifetime, you were delivering bad freaking news all the time,
Oh man.
right?
Okay,
Like
that reads.
imagine like you're the newspaper, right? And so
Yes.
this feeling of like, well, if I'm the center of attention, then there's this responsibility that I'm going to have to deliver hard information or bad news. And so that lifetime, what I'm doing is bringing in the joy because you were pretty young as the town crier, like you're probably like a 12 or 14-year-old boy.
Okay.
And and there's also like a lot of difficulty in that lifetime, like a lot of poverty, a lot of like, I had to do this in order to make money. I had to do this in order to provide for my family. So we're back to that responsibility energy.
Yeah, that all of that reads, and I still had that very much as a young child. Yes.
Yeah, you brought that in with you. And so I'm just kind of honoring that
Wow.
lifetime and letting that go so that you can share information without all this heavy responsibility and you can just be this light and allow the information to come through, right? Whether you're hosting someone or you're sharing it yourself. Good. And just take some deep
Oof.
breaths. Your root chakra is like, I don't know what to do with this. So we're just going to take a deep breath and let some love come into the root as well. The constipation will take a little bit of time to work out, but that understanding of I can share from joy is what they want you to keep working with. Like just bringing that intention in. I can share from joy. I can share from love. I'm not the bearer of bad news. I don't have to have that responsibility. Good. That's really good. All right. Mhm. Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being open to that.
We had an interesting question on the chat, and she asked, uh, I'm just going to abbreviate this, but does the activation affect both physical and energetic?
Mm.
And I mean, I have a kind of an answer for this, but I'd like to hear yours.
Sure. Yeah. When I bring through activations, whether it's in English, like I did earlier, or it's just energetic space holding or sound healing or light language
Mhm.
or whatever way it comes through, we're bringing in a frequency that impacts all of the parts of our being. Now, the degree to which you can receive that in the physical body versus the energetic body can sometimes be different because as we get into the physical body, we have a higher degree of density, right? And so sometimes we'll receive something like I'll go get a healing from my friend and we'll do some work on the astral plane in my energetic body or I'll do some work in the dream space and it'll take a few days to like land in the physical body. as long as we don't interrupt that process of integration by going into a story that says, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I'm having this physical reaction to this energy healing. And then sometimes we interrupt it and then we can't integrate that. And we
Mm.
extend that time period as we integrate. And so it's important to kind of try to stay out of the mental body stories. That is another aspect of our being that can block
Yep.
that integration.
Yeah, I call that going back to your reference point. Sometimes I'll actually be with the body and I'll be like, how do you feel? And they're like, well, the pain is zero right now. And I was like, okay, you can't go back to your reference points.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, they'll be like, I went back to my reference points and now
Yeah.
I have it again. And I find that fascinating that our mind can work on that level. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Katie
Yeah.
writes in, she says, is having a certain disease like arthritis linked to a certain trauma?
Mm. Yes and no. So I have an amazing book that I always recommend by Yvette Rose, called, it's been literally sitting right beside me, Metaphysical Anatomy. Really good, really thick book. It's like Louise Hay on steroids.
Okay.
And you can
Yeah,
kind of go
yeah.
and look up different
I'm
things.
familiar.
There, there are certain characteristics of certain diseases. So, for example, arthritis, there's normally some level of toxicity going on in your life or some toxicity that you've absorbed and something around play and joy and fun in that inflammation response. At least that's what I see when I work with people. So there's certain key things that certain disease processes that come up in the body link to. But for each individual, what is that trigger point for them in this lifetime can vary immensely. And of course, their soul path, their past lives, and their ancestral story can vary immensely. A lot of times when I'm working with somebody on something really difficult in the body, that's very chronic, there is this tendency that they're running an ancestral energy from a particular ancestor that they are connected to, and they're trying to complete that cycle, for example, or there's a past life energy that's coming in. So, yes, there are great references and sources that I highly recommend if you're dealing with something chronic to get informed in. That's just happens to be one of my favorites. But there's also an importance and a need to look at it from a holistic perspective as well.
Wow.
Well, we want to give you time to go through your special offer. I know you brought a really great special offer for us today. And if you could just take a little bit of time to go through and tell us a little bit about it. So Jennifer's is going to bring it up. She's going to share her screen.
And I want you guys to know we'll still have a little bit of time for questions
Yes,
too.
that's right.
Then
I'm looking at the time as the
go ahead.
hour, but we still have
Go
time.
ahead and queue up some questions too. I would love that. Uh, but yes, I want to go ahead and bring up her package and we can go ahead and go through it.
Yeah, the thing that I decided to bring forward for you all based on your theme of the summit and this idea of vitality and embodiment is my Four Etheric Bodies course. And this is an online course. I taught it pretty recently. It's recorded in my Thinkific app, and you get access to all four modules. And when I talk about the etheric bodies, it's the physical, the mental, the energetic, and the emotional. And so when we're trying to heal something, we want to be connected and rooted into all of those bodies. And so in the four modules, we go through each one individually, and there's specific practices and teachings that come in so that you can get deeply connected to the four parts of you. And when I'm doing healing work with somebody, I'm meeting them for the first time, or maybe they're really in a scattered place and they're a long time client. What I tend to see is that they have fractalized, meaning something has happened, whether it's a trauma or a physical disease, or maybe they're getting divorced or they've lost a job or something's going on. And they've gotten such in a trauma response that the four aspects of self have gotten disconnected from one another, right? And so by learning to work with each of these, and this is really you learning about them and then starting to do these activations so that you can be your healer, okay? Starting to work with them individually, it allows you when you get to that fractalized place, because we have stuff that's going on in our lives all the time, to be able to center in each of those bodies and bring unity to them and bring them all back together. And from that place, we can then get the clarity and the downloads and the information that we need to be able to move forward. And, there's several activations in each module. There's teachings. I like to say that you're probably kind of drinking from a fire hose in my classes. I bring in as much information as possible in the time that I have in each of these modules. And you're going to walk away with a lot of things to chew on, right? So your mental body is going to get a lot of information that you need as well to just understand these different etheric concepts or these different etheric bodies. And then you'll have the activations as well to practice with to start to bring healing. And so anything that you bring forward that's going on in your life can leverage this particular teaching. It's one of my favorites to bring through for people and get them connected to. And I'm also, for those that purchase this class, doing an actual live online one as well. It's going to be, I think it's the last week in September, the last Monday in September. We'll do a live class for anybody that purchases from this summit, and we'll bring
Wow.
activations. And generally, I take a lot of questions in that and do some group healing. So that's on the 22nd. Yeah, that's 7.
Wow.
Exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My
Yeah, so it's
gosh.
a really, really
So,
good deal.
Yeah.
yeah. Look, so guys, these are an hour and a half each, and they come with slides and a visual component as well for you to really go through and really learn this work.
Yeah.
This is fascinating, and then you get a live group healing as well. Wow, that's
Yeah,
a
for
good offer.
$97. This
That's
is
crazy.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it'll give you all a good understanding of my work, and people tend to really like that class. And the group healing is always really good to connect with everybody. So, yeah.
fabulous. Uh, the link is in the chat if you're looking for it right now.
and you can also find that on our live page, which is www.houtehustle.com/live. So remember, Katie's special offer will be also there right under her beautiful plate picture. You just click on the button.
Love that. I thought this was an interesting question. This is one of the girls from our inner circle, and I'm happy to bring her up if you want to work with her. But we have a live event coming. It's in November 7th, 8th, and 9th. And she has decided to do it. She's bought a ticket, but she's still experiencing this panic with actually getting a flight because this is the first time that she's going on a flight alone. And she just, it kind of gets this like, panic, although we know that we can get her here.
Of course.
But I mean, in general, with the people who have that, human yank back, even
Mhm.
though they're like, I'm guided, I'm guided, I know this is right, but that, limbic part of our brain is still drawing us back. What would you say are the best ways to kind of get to the root of that and really clear it so
Or
that
can
she's
you do
not
some,
just forcing it? Yeah.
or can you do some help for her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to bring in some general information first and see how
Okay.
that happens, because I feel like this is a pertinent question to a lot of the people that might be,
Yes.
in some sort of anxiety response. So a couple of things that I want to talk about with anxiety. So when we're future, so fear equals future energy activation response. That's my
Mm.
for it. Okay. So we're going
Future energy.
For your journals, everyone.
Yep. For your journal. Say it again.
future energy activation response. So she's going
Okay.
into her future timeline,
Mhm.
trying to feel what might happen in that plane ride, on this experience. Like there's part of her leaving her body to try to caretake this fear response that's coming up. So number one, when we have anxiety, we're out of our body, okay? We're either going forward in time, which is 90% of it when fear comes up. There is an anxiety response that can go when we have pieces of ourselves missing from our past, right? Where light has gotten left behind in a trauma, for example. But in her case, what I see is she's going to have a big shift in this particular event, because she's said yes to her soul journey and an activation that's coming in this. And her body is like, oh, things are going to change, right?
Hmm.
The ego part of us that is protecting us from those fear responses that activates the mental body and the fear stories that come up wants to keep us comfortable as we are. And when I do travel retreats, because my husband and I do those quite a lot, people will sign up and they're all excited. And then they're like, oh my God, what have I just done? And so I deal with this a lot
Hmm.
because people will kind of freak out and say, I think something's changing in this, and I'm scared of what that's going to mean for my life. And so
Mm.
that resistant part that's coming up is an aspect of self that is trying to protect. So just like I did with your stomach issues earlier, it's about bringing validation to this protector part that's like, I'm trying to keep you safe. And then saying, thank you for
Mhm.
keeping me safe. But how can we maybe work together to create safety in a way where we're not limiting our experiences, where we're not limiting our joy, where we're not limiting our growth? And what might it look like for this part of me, this egoic protector part, to keep me safe in a way that doesn't say, I can't get on this plane? And to start talking to that part, because when that gets activated, we often try to push it away or villainize it, just like something with the body, right? We want those protector parts to grow with us and maybe give it a different job, right?
Mhm.
Like help me change my routines in my day to day, or help me in some other way, or
Oh, that's great.
help me to set boundaries with my mother, right? Like whatever it needs
Yeah.
to be, instead of like keeping her from being able to have this expansive experience that I see that she's going to have.
Love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Wow, because that shifted me. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of anything that I've been, like, I don't know that I want to go, but my body is like, go.
Yeah, our body knows. Our body knows.
Yeah.
And then the mind and the nervous system get involved. And man, I have done so much work on my nervous system over the last 2 years. And even just in the last like 3 days, I've learned more things about the nervous system in my body. We're constantly evolving our connection to our nervous system because it is the bridge between heaven and earth, and the bridge between the masculine and the feminine in our being. And so it's constantly receiving all these subtle inputs all the time, right? And so that's why I see so much impact in the work that people are doing with their nervous system, and, embodiment work and somatic work and all those things, right? That needs to be a part of our process in addition to energy healing and the other things
Yeah.
that we're doing, because it's a trigger point, but it can often get stuck in old stories or old protective patterns that are, outdated for us. And so it's important to begin to allow that to update.
It's interesting. Your advice, it lines up. I was listening to Mel Robbins in our Growth Day app, which is a part of the app that we use for our inner circle. And she had this simple thing. It was like, just put your hands on your heart if you have anxiety. And it's like, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm love. And you just say these I am mantras to your heart and to yourself, which also lines up with the EFT. Like, I love and acknowledge.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It just makes me realize how much we don't really practice that.
Yeah.
We've had to bring in these methods to remind us to practice that. But I would be curious to see if there's anybody out there on the chat that actually does find that they acknowledge themselves on a regular basis, celebrates their bodies, thanks their bodies, right? Because that's not a practice that I naturally do.
Not
There's
naturally.
gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude is there
Yeah.
usually, but
Yeah,
But
it's
even
normally.
still, it's not like every day. And I do have to make it a point to do it. I have to remind myself, I have to stop and be like, Oli, like your body, like, thank you, body. You got it going on, body. Like
Yeah, my
there's
husband
so much.
is a DJ and
mm,
for ecstatic dance, and we started offering somatic movement and dance as part of the things that
Yeah.
manifesting generator. So I like to do a lot of different things.
yep.
And that we had a dance yesterday that he was DJing for, and it was like I went in there and I had so much resistance because I hadn't slept well because I've been having stuff with my sleep the last few nights. And but in the dance, it was like the emotions that were able to come up and move through it. I needed to work through that resistance to be in the body to feel what I needed to feel. And dance and singing and expression is one of my favorite ways to do that. It doesn't have to be boring or uncomfortable or serious. It can be joyful and fun too, to be in this
Yeah.
that energy move.
I love that reminder because singing and dancing is one of my like favorite expressions. But sometimes if I'm just like I feel so goofy doing it, but it's like that's the thing, right? Like that is the thing that can break you open, and you're like you just feel fine with it, just like and all of a sudden I'll turn around and I'll start laughing, and I make everyone else in my my house laugh because they're like, oh, there she is again. Like they can tell when I'm sick because I'm not singing and dancing. Like they're like, oh, and they could tell when I'm back because I start singing again and stuff like that. So just like pull more of yourself out. Have the joy, I think, is one of the other themes that we kept saying here as well.
Yeah, 'cause
Rejoice.
if you look at children, they are very good at being in their bodies
Yeah,
until somebody tells them that they're not. Right?
Yeah.
They know how to move energy. They know how to scream and have a tantrum. They know how to have
true.
emotions. And then they shift very quickly because they lean all the way into the experience. But so many of us were taught in the way that we were raised that those emotions are not allowed and they're not allowed to be expressed. And children are meant to be seen and not heard and all those monikers, right? And so in our adult selves, we think, well, I have to be the perfect picture of seriousness in order to be in this role that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
When we're doing retreats and things, we're always bringing in this aspect of play and joy and singing and dancing and the things that move energy that are tapping into that inner child. We do art therapy, we do all kinds of things because it's a part of looking at that inner child energy and bringing in the holistic being.
Mhm. I want to bring into one more topic since we have a little bit of time and I feel like you're capable of talking about it.
Yeah.
One of the topics that we talk a lot about on the show is manifestation. And I was on the phone with my sister the other night and she's like, I was talking about a few things that would just like turned up like magic. And she's like, well, that doesn't surprise me, it's you.
Mhm.
And I thought, well, I think I actually do deliberately manifest. Like there's a certainty around certain things in my life, and the things I have uncertainty about don't manifest as well, right? I
Sure.
just people notice it. What are your thoughts on manifesting from like certainty? And what are some of the shifts people can take when they're doubting? Like they feel like it's meant to happen and yet they are like, yeah, but it's too good to be true and they go into total doubt around it.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. I think
Mhm.
I'm on y'all's podcast next month and we're probably going to talk about manifestation.
Yay.
Woo-wee.
Ooh, great. Really
So
go
we
deep
can
in
go,
it. Love
yeah,
it.
we can go deeper in.
Yeah, I like this.
But at a high level, what I tell people is the way manifestation works is that we're sending out a request to the universe, whether it's conscious or unconscious. It's like a little word balloon that goes up to the edge of the universe and says, this is what I want. And then we have to receive that energy back, and it has to travel through the entire chakra column to land in our root chakra to take hold in our physical reality. That's actually the
Wow.
energetic way that manifestation works, okay, through the
Mhm.
chakra column. But what happens is we put that request out and then sometimes we'll change our order, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I always say it's like going to the diner and saying, oh, I want a hamburger. And then 2 minutes later, you want a salad. And then 2 minutes later, you want the chicken strips. And then you just want a soda, right? Like you're going to confuse the kitchen.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's like getting into stability and in an aligned place before we're putting the request out. That's number
Mm.
one. And number two, it's doing things in your day to day to stay in alignment with the truth that that already exists, right?
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's what happens in the chakra column because we start to bring that thought bubble back as a manifestation and it lands somewhere in our being. Sometimes it gets stuck in the crown chakra
Mm.
and we've got religious programming that says, I'm not worthy of this unless I
Yep.
prove it, right? Or it comes into the throat chakra and it says, oh, I've got judgment about myself and so I can't have it. Or it comes down into the heart and then we've got some self-shame or some self-guilt. So when we're working with manifestation, we're really working with opening this channel. That's why I teach everybody the center channel practice that we did and the activation, right? We need to keep that channel open so that there's consistently a flow so that these things can start to move through. And if there's a story that comes up of like, oh, I'm not sure I deserve this, or I'm not sure that this is right for me, it's important to sit with that part and try to identify where in the body you're feeling that because that's the energy center that's holding that expression. And then look at the reasons why that might exist for you. And this can be a little tricky when you're manifesting really big things that are really important to you because you have a lot of attachment energy, right? When you're working on small, like I manifest things very quickly in the small scale all the time, and
Me
people
too.
laughing at me like on trips or like, oh, Katie wanted to see a rainbow, and there's like four freaking rainbows over that mountain. Right?
Yep. I
That
love that.
because I'm unattached, right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the thing. And so it's also about looking at what's creating the stickiness of attachment that if this doesn't happen,
Mm.
hey, I'm not worthy. I'm
Uh-huh.
safe, right? Those are just a few things. I could go really deep on that topic, but that's kind of like my 10,000 foot view for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Right now we have a beach house up for sale, and we've gotten some bids, but they're way low. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
like, why is this happening? This isn't a part of the vision,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah, yours is a divine timing thing too. There's some other stuff.
Mm,
I've said that.
There's a few things working out in your favor. Just give it a little bit of time. But also your
right.
inner child is like, okay, but what do I get in place of this? What are you taking away from me and what do I get in place? So there's some inner child aspect to it.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Okay.
Interesting. I do have
So,
a question on I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
no,
no,
no.
I want you to expand on that. Go ahead.
Well, it it's just so aligned. I'm just like, of course, because there's like this little child inside of me that's like, I want it all.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was like that as a child, which what made me a really good manifester, which because it was just like, why wouldn't I get it?
Exactly.
Do you know me?
Yeah.
But
As
my
long as you can
sister's just the
embody those
opposite.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those
Yeah, it's
inner child
interesting.
parts, embodying
Hmm.
them more fully for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Hmm.
There is a question on the live chat. It says, Paula writes in, she goes, I was once told not to attach to any symptoms like my underactive thyroid, yet now I've gained a bunch of weight and I'm so tired. I'm curious if this thyroid is getting my attention or more from living in an unfulfilled relationship. And are there specific symptoms to tell the difference?
Mm.
Yeah, so thyroid conditions in general are so interesting. Of course, I've studied it because I've been in and out of that for so long.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think that's why yeah.
Yeah, there's an autoimmune component too where we're rejecting our own body, right? Autoimmune conditions, especially for women, are key because we're rejecting ourselves. And so I would ask her to look at where she is rejecting herself and her needs. It sounds like she's already identified it in her relationship and that her intuition is pinging that something that she's not speaking or not saying is contributing to this dis-ease process. And we
Mm.
can look at that without being attached to a story, right? So sometimes when people talk about detachment, they're like, well, I'm just going to pretend that it's not happening. That is not detachment,
Mhm.
right? What I say is let's bring in neutrality that says this thing that's happening is happening for me. It's trying to get my attention. My body isn't the bad guy. And that's that level of neutrality and unattachment that we're looking for. We still want to listen to the signal, right? We
Got
want
it.
things. And there's a million different ways to treat thyroid conditions. Diet is a huge part of it, right? How we're taking care of our body and our body's needs is so important. And for women, we tend to put ourselves at the bottom of the totem pole.
Mm.
And, I think the reason why we have so many autoimmune conditions in the feminine collective here in humanity is because we're speaking through our bodies to the injustice of us not being able to take care of ourselves and have the community and that support that we actually need in the village that we would have had in the past, right? And we're certainly not going back to those ways of living, but we are trying to find ways to honor our human experience in these feminine bodies and be able to take care of them where we're not the chronic caretaker, where our needs are always last. And so, just a few thoughts on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the more we talk to you, the deeper I feel like this is. I'm like, okay, she really has done her homework around this work. This is it's
Well,
all
and we knew you would have,
yeah, of course
which
we
is why
did.
we're so
But
excited to have you on the show.
sometimes we get somebody it's just like, what?
Blows us away. Yeah.
Yeah,
So thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Another one of the things that I wanted to talk about was I know that you do this. Um, I know that you do some of the retreats and you take people to the different places. What
Mhm.
is one of the like, and this is kind of just a insider's kind of question. It doesn't even have to be a retreat. What is one of the kind of like, what's the, I don't know, a unique experience or one of the craziest things that's happened during this journey or, and I think it's kind of inspiring for people so that we also kind of like, you know what, I had a crazy thing happen and I'm okay with
Well,
whatever we feel.
I'm gonna tell a story about galactic contact
Okay.
because it's the one that my husband always likes me to talk about because people are like, nah, that didn't really happen.
I
We've
like this.
Oh, I
we've
love
Let's
had
go,
it.
let's go.
we've had multiple experiences and different retreats. One here in North Carolina that we did that was a more local retreat. After I did a channeling, we walked outside and there were 20 lights that appeared in the sky and we had 20
Wow.
participants. And so we were doing contact work, purposely connecting to our hearts and welcoming in a visual representation of the message that had just come through. And we had a lot of people that had never seen a starship before, so it was a big deal. And then
Yeah.
Is that
last
like
year,
some of Stephen Greer's type work?
yeah, it's basically like just dropping into heart coherence with one
Yes.
Love
another and
that.
getting out of the attachment
Yes, of having to see it.
that they're going to show up and what they're going to show up like.
Right.
My husband and I have had so many experiences in our own backyard here in Charlotte. It's actually quite a place with a lot of contact. And out in the desert, my husband and I go to the desert a lot. But last year in Mount Shasta, we drove up on top of a mountain and I was doing some chanting and some singing and drumming, and the lights would start showing up, and then I would stop drumming and singing, and everybody would like, no, you have to sing, you have to sing. And every time I would start singing again, they would show up again.
Wow.
They really want us to know that they're there, and they get excited when we get excited about it.
Mhm.
And it is just about being in that inner child excitement frequency.
Ooh.
I could go into a lot of other spiritual experiences I have, but those are ones that people always talk about on our retreats when we do contact work. Or
Neat.
we've had cloud beings show up. Like we had an eagle that came and sat over our ceremony in Peru that we just did.
Wow.
Stood up and it opened its chest to us and stayed and watched the whole ceremony and then flew off after we were done. So we have a lot of earth signals that come into
I
that are
love that too.
Oh,
beautiful.
how cool. Thanks for asking that question.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. No, it's later in the week we have a man named Adam Apollo who's done a ton of that kind of work, and it's just fascinating to, really, play where like these ships are just visible to us. We just need to request through a frequency for it to become visible.
yeah. And isn't that such a metaphor for everything in our lives?
Oh,
Oh,
yes. Yes.
love
Right?
that.
Like it's just an extension of the whole, right? Like if we're not asking for help, they're not going to show up. If we're not
Yeah.
asking for the sign, it's not going to show up. It is
Yeah.
about being in that place of request. And
There's that.
I work with people a lot on divine reciprocity,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
and Mother Earth and the offerings that we can make. And we do a lot of that on our travel retreats of
Yeah.
connecting with the earth and thanking her for holding these codes and holding these energies and coming from that place of divine love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
For purposes of time, I was going to ask, like, what is one that we could do? What an offering, if you say, like, if we were going to go out today and
Oh,
just
sure.
maybe offer, yeah, like, and give the earth a little bit of offering and love for just the time being with you
Yeah.
and all the wonderful people. Yes.
Well, number one is breath and what we call our hucha, which is our dense energy. So in Peruvian terms, it's being willing to let go of what we're not serving. And we think of that as a burden, but really Mother Earth is like, actually, that's compostable energy for me.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
easiest. But my favorite, in any bag that I carry, in any car that I'm driving, I'm carrying around tobacco all the time. I have Blue Ridge tobacco that I buy and I carry around. I make prayer offerings all the time with that. I love flowers. Flowers are normally in my house. They get offered to the earth. Really anything with intention, right? She just wants to
Yeah.
be seen and recognized and appreciated. I mean, it's just like us, right? Like think of
Yeah.
a woman wanting to get gifts from her partner, right?
Yeah.
Just wanting to receive something. And it's important that when you're offering it, you're doing it with gratitude. And then also there's a request in there. And then waiting to receive that information or that
Mm.
when I'm working with people's bodies, I'm always trying to get them to make connections with the earth. And I'll have them do like 21 days of earth offerings to start to build that
Mhm.
connection.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, and what I understand is an offering is just like, Gaia, I'd like
Yeah.
to support you. It doesn't even have to be, it just has to come from a place where it's true and real.
Yeah, just
That,
a desire to connect. That's it. She
yeah,
just wants to be, if we are connected with her, we are paying attention to her. And when we're paying attention to her, we're keeping her safe.
yeah.
Right. And so that's why I do these retreats. They're beautiful and it's wonderful to go to these places, but really it's about learning to commune with her and holding her sacred and then allowing her to help us to activate into what we're meant to be doing. Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. We had somebody else on the show that said something very similar to you. Like, look, Lady Gaia isn't, saying we're awful people and we're reaping it. And it's like if she was, she would just bounce us
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
It's the same shame stories that we carry with our mother that normally
Oh,
end
wow.
that, right? If we felt like we were a burden to our mom, we're going to feel
Oh,
like we're a burden to the earth.
interesting.
It makes me feel like
That's a whole other
differently.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Katie. Any last words that you have?
No, I'm just really grateful for y'all creating this opportunity and for those willing to be connecting to one another and doing this work. We're all in this together. We're all working as one, and whatever you're doing, even if it's just in your own home or just with your own land, it absolutely matters, right? We don't need to be out healing the masses in order to be helping. However, you're showing up in your joy and your authentic expression is totally serving. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
So grateful.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Everyone stick around.
Yep,
We're still going strong.
we've got Judith Costa next, who does a Akashic record reading. So if you've got something that you would like to get read from your Akash, then go ahead and raise your hand and you can go ahead and queue yourself up. You can type it in the chat on YouTube or here, and we'll make sure that we ask your question. Just a reminder, you can find everything here on the live page at hautehustle.com/live. These live sessions, the replays will be up there tomorrow, and you'll get the flow of it. You'll get the flow of it by Friday.
We're not putting that in the universe. You'll get it today.
But we'll try to communicate it to you today. So
That's right.
go to the live page. Go to the
So
live page.
It's
It's all there.
HAUTEHUSTLE or just the .com/live.
Correct.
So basically everything again is there. So you can just bookmark that page. Don't have to worry about anything else. But if you want to, you'll see our newsletters. And if you're not signed up for our newsletters, just in general, we run a live show every Tuesday and Thursday. And so you'll get more information about our live show on our newsletters. So if you just want to sign up and become a part of our newsletter group, you can do that at www.hautehustle.com. But also, if you want to find out more about the summit, be sure to visit the live stream. So, I'm sorry, the live page. Thank you.
Yes.
We do have that, but yes, the live page.
Yeah. And if you ever need anything, you can always email us at team@hautehustle.com. Got questions?
Yeah, one of the things we were saying in between the show was to be sure you have a journal. So that's why I have my orange journal. And the reason why it's orange
Journal.
she does is because it's part of our inner circle. It's part of what we call the Mystique Society. And in the Mystique Society, we are partnered up with Brendan Richard. Maybe we've coupled up. Brendan Richard, which he has an app. It's called Growth Day. And I don't think you can see it here, but this is kind of like the little logo. And on Growth Day, he provides lots of different things about productivity. There's a ongoing mindset. There's a checklist every day. There's things to do. There's ways in which to listen to like the little, you can put your checklist of everything that you got going on for the day. You can put listen to his kind of motivating thing in the morning. But the other thing that we have is that we've coupled that with our kind of our mysticism meets productivity in our Mystic Society. And the Mystic Society is the inner group. It's the way in which that we really connect with our inner circle, our people that come and visit with us. We do this every month. It's every second every second Wednesday of the month. And we have like this really fun, free-flowing, non-judgment community that really is taking some of these questions and the things that we're learning here today, and we're just going deeper. We're allowing this free flow space of learning and interacting with some of these kind of quirky things that we learn in our lives. Jeneth likes to call our community, the whole community, everybody that's here free too, and the Navy SEALs of consciousness. And here we just take that into learning from each other. Many people have experienced coming online with their psychic abilities. They've strengthened them. They've known that they've had these gifts for a long, long time. And so the community is really close. We also have a Facebook group. So if you're interested in that information, you can find all of that information on our live page. You just click on our Mystic Society join, and you can take a look at all of the different benefits and features of becoming an inner circle member.
Yeah, it's $49 a month. just so you know, but really, truly, you're getting brand new information every single day.
Yep.
And you also get a chance to put in your little to-do lists in there, and you get to check off things. I mean, I
She's
personally
always
love
getting a
it.
streak. I am not. Like I do like this piece and this piece and this piece and this piece.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I like doing it all. You get to like rate your energy at the end of each
Yeah.
day. You know, and I find that, you know, to be honest, if I don't get enough sleep, my mood is always
Oh,
low.
so you
And
can
so
know
I've
that now.
actually now I've tracked that to go, oh, okay. Mood
Oh.
down, didn't sleep well.
Oh.
Like those two numbers are down. So I've learned a lot about myself just being on this app and seeing where I am at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Brenda Richard also says, look, if it's important to you, you should track it. And I
Yeah.
thought, wow, like
Yeah.
even all the way down to like, you know, time that you spend with your families, time that
Mhm.
you spend doing your spiritual work. You
Mhm.
know, if you have that and you can look on a graph and you're like, dang, I'm not feeling so well. How much time did I spend doing some spiritual work?
Right. Absolutely.
It's very fascinating. She still is doing the streaks a lot better than I am though, but I'm getting there.
I miss a few days here and I got to start over. I'm like, dude, I was on like day 29 and
Okay,
I just
so
missed
think
a Monday.
And then think about that, right? Without the app, you probably wouldn't have been like
Like,
so you know,
no.
so good about doing
No.
your journaling.
I like the messages. It really wakes me up. So there's that. All right, let's bring Judith up and start our next session.
Exciting.
I'm just gonna bring a little snacky a little closer.
I know.
It's having a minute here. All right. We had Judith on our last summit and she just blew us away. So we wanted to bring her back. And I think you're going to be super excited about this. Let me stop the last recording.